Hello there, Reject Nation. I'm Greg Alba.
And I'm John Humphrey.
We are going to do a fun, different video request today. Top award request from our homeboy, Sir David Gandy. He said, how about a video request on the music side? Immediately, I'm like, oh, great, This is going to get blocked on YouTube. And then he said, you and John can discuss A, the 5 or so artists whose music overall has been the most meaningful to you. B, which 5 or so specific songs have been the most meaningful to you. And C, are there any particular artists you believe should have greater exposure? I just picked 5 as arbitrary. If another number works better for video length, etc., go with that. So
17.
David wants us to do all each choose whichever ones or do all 3.
I think he wants us to choose any amount of them we want, but each of them has to be at least 5. I think it's what I'm getting the vibe of is we can kind of discuss as many of these as we want to as many numerations as we want.
How about this? What if we did a little bit of a combined where we chose how about we just do the 5 songs and then we'll see where we freestyle out from there. Like the 5 songs that have been the most meaningful to us, because I'm sure that out of those 5, some of them have to be, we need an efficient title for the video. Some of those have to be our favorite artists, right? Like
it
that's
stand to reason.
Yeah. I feel like there's 1 or 2 songs that I have in mind to say that I don't consider to be my favorite artists, but at least 3 of them are. And I'm sure there's going to be some. Oh my God, what are those called?
Honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. I almost said ham exposure.
Ham exposures. Yeah, there's going to be a few ham exposures before we get to number 1.
Like, I know that's not it, but I remember there's
I
an
wish
H
it was.
There. So yeah, I guess I can. I'll kick this off. For starters, this is going to be different. This is not one of my favorite artists, but I'm just going to say this because I have to and because I really want to. It's Safe by Bay Ledges. This is, I don't really talk about my personal life nor my relationship that I've been in for nearly 3 years at this point. Yeah.
You're in a relationship?
With you. Oh, no.
Only 3 years?
With my girlfriend Olivia. And this song, I remember before I ever told her I loved her, I heard this song on the radio, and then I just sort of I was like, I heard this song and I played it, kind of giving a little hint that I might be in love with her. and now whenever I hear it, I often I kind of just tear up. And when I'm by myself, I especially cry. So that's my song with my girl. So one little hint at our personal life together. There you go. That's all you get. But other than that, I like to be pretty private about it.
Okay.
But yeah, that would be my number 5 pick.
Damn, then I'll go with a tenderness song. One of my very favorite soft and tender jams that is great for a lot of occasions. Sometimes when
Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. One of us had to interrupt each other with a stupid joke.
I know. Right? I almost did. I almost went with Imagine Dragons at the top with you, but no. Yeah, Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. Drowning Pool did not get the respect they deserve. No, there is a song that comes to me in a lot of different situations, sometimes for like tender loving things, sometimes in more like soft times of grief or whatever, but it's a kind of a lullaby, but by a band that I really love. So that I love when bands switch it up and throw in something that's kind of a curveball or that's like dear and soft and vulnerable. And the song I'm talking about is called Goodnight Laura by the band Spoon. And yeah, it's just a really dear, sweet piano ballad that's, it's like a little lullaby, but it's also really beautiful and it's also really tender. And it's kind of like a warm embrace when you need one. So yeah, and you can share it with somebody or feel embraced by the song on your own.
All right, good pick.
One of my favorite bands as well. So that's a twofer.
Okay. So yeah, this next song that I have in mind,
Master Puppets Metallica?
Funny enough, this is a song I don't, from a band I generally do not like. I generally don't like their songs.
I'm excited to hear.
And they're a enormous band. They're huge. Yet every time I hear their songs, I'm like, not really for me. But they have one song that sounds different from most of theirs. And I'm not sure what it is about this. Like every time I listen to it, and it's a great song, I think, to sing along to, and it's really heartfelt. And do you know what song I'm talking about? Do you have an idea who I'm going at?
No.
It's The Killers, All These Things That I've Done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's their song, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's their original tune.
All these...
One of the most covered songs ever.
I don't think it's by anybody other than the Killers.
But there's something that's like, I was kind of in a toss-up here between like All These Things That I've Done and Float On, where there's that bit of like, it's like uplifting, but also bittersweet and melancholy at the same time. And I feel like both of those songs kind of generate that for me. And I guess there's something about that line that, the catchy one, I've got soul, but I'm not a soldier, which just really hits me in the feels every time. Like, I just love that line.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people do. It's the part where, like, I don't know what he's saying, but there, I've got soul, but I'm not a soldier. Yeah, that part. I've got soul, but yeah, if you listen to the lyrics, there's a lot of darkness in there too. Time to depart.
The Departed. Yeah, man. That's a solid choice, man.
Thank you.
I'm going to judge your list as we go.
It's all personal choices, right?
Okay, so number 4, I debated heavily because, for me, there's a lot of overlap in these different questions. But it's like
I tried focusing us.
Yeah. There's a lot of overlap in terms of like, this is a favorite artist, but which would be a favorite song or something like that. So the one I thought of for this one is a song by one of my favorite, more recent discoveries, who's made like one of my Desert Island albums. Is a guy named Frank Turner. And there are a lot of songs I really love off his Tape Deck Heart album, but I think the one that encompasses like a whole breadth of his musical expression, and that also is kind of about the joy of congregating over music and dancing and singing together, is a song called Four Simple Words, which is it has a really great dynamic. It starts off in the sort of more acoustic territory that he is more known for on a solo level, and then builds into this full band sort of swinging barn burner, and so it kind of encompasses I debated between that and a song called Telltale Signs, but that's a really sad song. And I feel like the resilience that Four Simple Words touches on while acknowledging some of those other feelings is really beautiful. So it's another favorite artist and a favorite song by them.
Good choice.
Thanks, dog.
By the way, if you made it this far, John does music video reactions on our Patreon page.
Here and there, yeah.
He really knows. John plays guitar. Has played since 3rd grade.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. No, not 3rd grade. 5th grade or something.
Probably
right?
5th. Yeah. That's probably when I got.
But you
my
started
first
learning
actual
from
guitar.
the 3rd grade teacher. That's
right,
why I think
little
3rd grade.
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh, she could play guitar.
But no,
that's so cool.
It must have been 5th grade. Have a very specific memory.
Yeah. Because the 3rd grade teacher was my guitar teacher.
Yeah,
but we were in 5th grade by that time.
Yeah. Your voice is traveling all throughout the microphone.
This is in stereo.
Okay, so my number 3 pick. This might be this is different. It's not so much that this hits me in an emotional way, but I think this song ages perfectly, at least in the last 15 or so years, because this one, not really, like, I don't cry or something when I hear this. It doesn't. It uplifts me through difficult times in a different way. It channels my imagination. I've noticed that as ever I grow, or wherever I do, whatever I do creatively, wherever I'm at in my life, this song generates a new scene or montage in my mind every few years. Like, one day I'm going to use this song in something. Whatever Scorsese's connection is to, it's just a shot away by the Rolling Stones of how that's in 3 movies of his. This is like that for me. And it is Jacqueline by Franz Ferdinand.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I used to listen to that the first album, just called Franz Ferdinand, which I remember I heard Take Me Out when I was in New York at like 14 or 15. I came back and you knew who the band was, and It's like the band John and I share.
Yeah.
And then that song Jacqueline, I would have a different kind of imagination when I was younger. I remember I used to have to walk to work when I was like 15, and then I would just I remember one time, I remember that's when I had just a giant CD portable player that I just put in my pocket, and then I just with big headphones. I just walked in the rain for like an hour to work, and I just listened to the whole album on repeat. But like Jacqueline, and I feel like Franz Ferdinand loves that song too, because that's usually their opening song. Every concert we've been to for them,
that's like
they usually kick off their concert with that song. Yeah.
One of the non-single jams that still gets everybody really riled up.
Yeah, and man. I feel like a lot of bands get sick of their popular ones, but they seem to really embrace that song. So I love that song.
All right. See, there's so many, especially now that we're recording, there's so many songs and so many artists coming to mind that means so much to me.
I imagine this is harder for you than for me.
Yeah, I'm already rearranging the list. I'm already like, how could I have, if I'm ranking these, how could I have forgotten? But yeah, if we're plowing ahead, the next song that came to my mind is a song that actually inspired me. It was one of the, in my own playing, to branch out into finger-based picking and stuff like that in a big way that like pushed me over the edge into wanting to learn that and just noodling around that way. It's a song called Word of Mouth by an artist named Shaky Graves. Who I've come to really love in the recent years, and he's got a cool, vibe. He kind of exists on multiple levels. I mean, the first I saw him, he was just himself with a guitar and a suitcase drum, kind of being a one-man band, but he also plays in a full, four-piece setting. And his stuff across the board is just really unique and well lived in, and it combines a lot of genres together. And Word of Mouth is just a really great sort of bluesy story song that has a great build and is all about the walk through life and the different people you meet and all the bad advice that they give you. And it's just a song that has so much personality, and also there's a particular performance of it because it's never been recorded formally. Like, there are you can hear it and see it a lot of places because of the magic of the internet. But yeah, there's an Audio Tree live recording that he does just himself, the guitar and the suitcase drum, and it's one of my favorite performances of any song ever. So yeah, Word of Mouth, Shaky Graves. And for question C, that's an artist I wish had more exposure for sure.
Yeah.
Because he's terrific.
Same thing for the Killers.
Definitely, man. Nobody's talking about him, and none of their members have gotten to branch out beyond the Killers. It sucks.
So this next song got me, like John, into fingering the bass with my noodle. I heard a few words you said, and I was like, I'm gonna make my own sentence.
fingered the bass with my noodle. Finger the bass, man.
Actually, no, this is a rap song by none other than... Oh, wait, now another one really came to mind. Oh,
see what
boy.
happens? Music is infectious.
It's going to have to be an honorable mention.
We're going to have
the other one.
Big honorable mentions list.
John will have 80 songs.
Yeah, I've made a playlist for you guys. John's
going to pitch you in the honorable mentions the top 100 songs you must listen to.
Yeah, it's actually a 6-disc collection, and it's available for $29.95 on our Patreon. Join us.
Okay.
That could be a new perk. Monthly Patreon playlists. We trade off months.
What songs we don't record?
No, you just curate a playlist.
So what? This one. This one's a really depressing song. And I mean, it's no mystery if you know me. It's by Eminem, and is from an album people hate, and I'm personally not a fan of the album either, but I love this, and Eminem kind of rejects this album too, but I love this single because every single verse in this song, every little lyric, whenever I'm in a dark period, and I feel like a lot of us go through dark times, and whenever I'm in a dark period, this is the song that I listen to feel understood, to feel connected. It's like songs like all these things that I've done is like, I'm kind of sad and in a bittersweet mood, whatever. This is like when I'm down, but to feel like someone is speaking for me, and especially with this kind of platform that we have where, it's like we gotta do like reactions or something and be like enthusiastic and invested in it. But then sometimes I have like devastating news I gotta deal with, but I don't want to translate over, especially in the second verse of the song. It's Eminem's Beautiful. That one I think is artistic, lyrically one of his best. But yeah, from just, there's all a personal list, and that one I weirdly feel understood. Like Eminem could be quirky and weird and fun, and he could also be very angry and aggressive. And then there's this other side to him, which is a lot softer, which isn't surprisingly not a song about Haley. It's just this is one of his softer songs about being down in the slumps and about feeling like quitting. And that one does a lot for me. So I would say Eminem's Beautiful.
Yeah, I like that song too. It's one of the few bright spots on Relapse. Okay. So for the next one I've chosen, there is a bit of a hip hop perspective as well. Not completely a hip hop tune, but definitely a verse in there, and it's by also one of my favorite acts, Gorillaz' song called "Dirty Harry," which is I think it was a single. It got a music video. It's not one of their most recognizable tunes, I guess. Like, you'd have to kind of be a Gorillaz fan to pick up that title, probably. But it's got such a fun collision of sounds and ideas. I mean, I love that you have this sort of children's chorus that kicks things off in this little kind of guitar line, and then it grows into this disco thing that later becomes this really harrowing and very sort of relevant hip-hop riff from the perspective of a soldier. And it kind of it speaks to the magic of what a good concept album can do, because I feel like in the Gorillaz catalog, it's like Plastic Beach is the clearest, most lucid concept album, I would feel like. Demon Day is also a concept album, but I feel like there is a little bit more coding in there, and that's a song that has a lot of relevant perspective, especially about like just touching on the ideas of war and stuff like that, but that also has a really cool and interesting smattering of sounds. And that's another one of those sort of favorite artist, favorite track kind of things. I haven't bought a ringtone in years, but I find the other, like a month or two ago, I was like, you know what, I want Dirty Harry as my ringtone. So I just love that song so much.
So let's get some honorable mentions out of the way.
Boom.
Honorable mention numero uno, before I forget it, is Thrift Shop. Not Thrift Shop.
This is one of your favorite songs. When I'm down, I tell you. When I'm feeling bad about money, I listen to Thrift Shop.
It is a Macklemore song called Starting Over.
Very different.
And that... Okay, so there's that song, and then there's this other random one that is by Immortal Technique called Dance with the Devil, which is one of the darkest songs I've ever heard. But I'll break it down really quick. So, and with Thrift Shop, God damn it, I call that. It's Starting Over.
When you're copping it and washing it, and you're about to go get some compliments.
With Starting Over, there's a lot of things I've had to overcome that could be either substance abuse or just emotional ways I've been in my life that I felt like I have overcome, and then something comes out of me, or like I relapse to a certain extent, and it's easy to get into. There's a difference between guilt and shame, and that song really explores the feeling of shame, and that line that he has in there of my God, it's not, I don't remember it perfectly right now, but if I can be an example of getting sober, I can be a greater example of starting over, because the song is about how he like really proclaimed and projected and showed like I'm sober, and then he relapsed. And it's all this shame, but then there's also something more. We're always going to have to pick ourselves back up, and we're always going to have to restart in a lot of areas. And that song really explores the power in willing to hit that reset button again and again and again until you keep, you just got to keep going. And then Immortal Technique is not that. Why that song really?
Look out now.
That song really clicks. I don't connect with that song. But that was the first rap song I've heard that was really painting a full-on story. It's a nearly 10-minute song, and it goes down some really disturbed, twisted ways. It's told in a linear way. There's nothing really mystique about it. It has to be fiction, and then but the ability to. It's like I'm never lost in that story. It's like I was really impressed with a song that truly paints a straightforward narrative, and they go fucking dark. And then a couple, and then the
that makes me think of one we probably share, unless it's your first one. Another story song.
Wow, what's your story song?
It's by a band that we both like, and I know it's a song we both love. And its first word is a state.
State
is a state in the union. There's a north and a south. I'll just say it's Carolina Drama.
Oh yeah, that's a great one.
That would be a runner-up for me for sure.
Oh damn, that's a great one.
That's a great story song.
I do love that. I've always wanted to make the music video.
Yeah.
There's something so powerful about it not having a music video too.
Yeah.
It would kind of ruin it if it did, but I would want to make it.
I want to ruin this song.
That's a good one. My other one is I wanted to say "A Boy Named Sue" by Johnny Cash. I'm wearing a Johnny Cash shirt. I gotta mention it. But Johnny Cash is a special place in my heart because my dad was obsessed with Johnny Cash. Introduced me to him. Walk the Line came out. Suddenly everyone loves Johnny Cash. And I'm like, I've already grown up on this guy, right? Like people of my age weren't really into Johnny Cash, and then a lot of people got into Johnny Cash at my age around the time that happened. I didn't pioneer the fandom for it or something. I'm just saying. So, but I would actually say the song "Cry, Cry, Cry," and it's not really because of the lyrics. Actually, funny enough, a lot factors into the movie. I don't know what happened in the first recording studio. I don't think that's what happened, where he formed the perfect band in the moment that Walk Hard parodies so well.
Yeah.
But
you have shaken my faith in the Jewish people.
But there was that moment, that scene really helped at an early age show me what was different about Johnny Cash in his time, of being told like you're just trying to do the same yada yada gospel stuff that everyone else is doing. Seeing something from the heart, and then he shows off this like dark expression in song, and it's easy to hear a song like "Cry, Cry, Cry" and still view it as just a catchy country tune. When you listen to the lyrics, it's a pretty messed up song.
There's a lot of those.
and so I would say "Cry, Cry, Cry" by Johnny Cash because I like the different renditions people do of it, and also like I've always wanted to hear kind of like a slower build-up version of that song. But yeah, there's a lot of Johnny Cash songs I could actually list, but I'm gonna go with that one.
Yeah,
and I'll just stop there because John, what's number 100?
100 on my honorable mentions list. Just a few. I'll keep it. I'll try and limit myself. Another one of my favorite bands is Silver Sun Pickups, and they have a song called "The Three Seed" on their first album. It's one of my all-time favorite songs. Just really beautiful and textural and poetic and stuff. There's also a song on another one of their albums called "Catch and Release." I don't know. They have songs I love throughout their discography, but yeah, those two come to mind. Feist does a song called "Get Not High, Get Not Low" that I really love. Recently, Desert Sessions, Something You Can't See with the lead singer from the Scissor Sisters. And AWOL Nation's a band that I love, and Sail, oddly enough. Like, there are so many songs I could choose from, and I only choose Sail because it's one of the few singles ever that I remember the first time I heard it, and every time I've heard it since, I still get the same feeling, and it hasn't ever diminished or dissipated. And they're a band that I love to see. I love every time they come back with new tunes and stuff. Also, "Stop That Train" by AWOL Nation is a great, more recent cut. And I'm sure there are a million more that could come to mind. Little Sims, 101 FM, is another one, and she's a rapper who I really hope more people discover because her... just the musical palette she works in are amazing, and her personality on the mic and her writing is fantastic. And yeah, I just hope people don't sleep on her. And I guess I'll segue out of my honorable mentions because I don't have much on my mind.
I'm surprised you didn't say any of Modest Mouse.
Oh man, what would be a Yeah, yes, I would have to zoom in on a specific song, and that's the hard part. It's like they're definitely one of my favorite bands. They're like Franz Ferdinand is one of my favorite bands. Outsiders is I guess if I had to choose like an honorable mention favorite from their second album, that's one of
France.
Or the Todd Terje mix of Stand on the Horizon. Those two are favorites.
I would say
Handsprings by the White Stripes.
I also really love this. This is a song that I wish was. See, most of the music I listen to, I'm not. I really listen to most of the music that for imagination purposes. I love to just kind of escape into my imagination with the songs. Or some people like really listen to the music and get lost in it and imagine. I don't know what they really imagine, but I'm usually like imagining scenes in a story or something. That's usually where my mind is going. And the Modest Mouse song is still in the honorable mention. The Modest Mouse song, I would say that I really wish was in a movie, and it just seems like it's made for movies, is Satin in a Coffin.
Oh, yeah. That's a great one.
And,
that would be a runner-up, yeah.
And like Queens of the Stone Age is like...
Burn the Witch.
Burn the Witch, yeah. I was going to say Mosquito Song.
Not bad.
Yeah, I was going to say that one. Burn the Witch, definitely.
Yeah.
But
Modest Mouse, I would throw in March into the Sea. I do love that song very much.
I mean, we could do a whole probably list of songs that should be in movies.
yeah, totally.
But yeah, on to number one. The number one pick. This is, if anyone knows me, this is my favorite band of all time. And this is probably their most popular single of all time. And it was my introduction into them. And this was something that this kind of encompasses everything I've been talking about from all my picks of feeling that bittersweetness, the darkness, but also feeling like there's light at the end of the tunnel and picking yourself back up, like everything I've been talking about. It doesn't really channel my imagination, and that's the funny thing about Red Hot Chili Peppers is I don't really imagine scenes with these guys, but yet like they're the only band where when I listen to them I'm just listening. and they're the only band that does that for me. They have a few songs where my imagination goes, but most of the time no, I'm just enamored and you know, swirling in all the players, and it is Under the Bridge. Like that just encompasses everything for me. I used to have to take the subway everywhere I went, and or go wait at bus stops, and I was constantly just listening to that song as a kid and just in a dark place, but it still has the same effect. And I also think from just a musical standpoint, I'm kind of surprised by how famous of a song it is, considering that it's so not traditional in the structure of the song. I know some of our biggest songs like Freebird or Stairway to Heaven are not, you know, traditionally structured. Like this has a weird structure to it when you break it down, but it doesn't seem odd or out of place. It really works, and I always feel the chorus when he's, you know, I don't ever want to feel. Yeah.
I think we each have our own Anthony Kiedis voice.
Yeah. But yeah, I would say that one.
All right. Then I guess we'll move on to the shouts out. I thought of a couple more shouts out to Mastodon's The Sparrow and The Last Baron, because those are two pretty amazing songs as well. And just to Linkin Park, because they were like
I was contemplating Linkin Park.
My first favorite band back in the day, and I've always kept up with them. Like I like all their albums to some degree, and I just felt like the need to shout them out.
Live in Texas is my favorite live album.
I saw that in the theaters.
Oh, you did?
My mom took me, and she dug it too.
Yeah, no, that's like easily my favorite live album.
Yeah, man.
It's hard to pick from like what would be my favorite from theirs, but I was definitely in content. I'm glad you brought them up.
Yeah. There's a lot, but my number one. It's weird. I'm very indecisive in this life, and when it comes to choosing favorites, like when it comes to making a list, I always struggle. And yet, weirdly, I know what my favorite movie and my favorite song are, which surprises me. But you actually already name checked it, and it's a song. Yeah. It's a song by my very favorite band.
I actually didn't know you were going to say that one.
yeah. My favorite song by my very favorite band is, Queens of the Stone Age, Mosquito Song.
There was something about the way when I said it of how you reacted that I was like, Is that the one who's going to
Yeah. That's my very favorite song. I remember it's weird. It's like I didn't even fully understand it the first time I heard it because I was like 12 when that album came out. But I don't know. There's something so inherently cheeky to me about the fact that it is a hidden track, except for it's listed on the back of the album as the hidden track, which I've always found very funny. But yeah, that's just that song, especially after the journey that Songs for the Deaf is this wonderfully cinematic, strange, dark, beautiful story song coda thing. And it's one of those songs that really makes me see colors and think of imagery. And that's a song where, like, I want to make that music video. Like, I want to make my 6-minute short film out of this song.
Right.
Because, yeah, it has... it's Josh is singing it in a voice that doesn't even sound like his natural voice, which I love the sort of otherworldly quality about the vocals. I love these sort of intricate and soft acoustic lines. And then the song gives way partway through to this big orchestral interlude that just has so much aura and atmosphere. And actually one of the lines in that song went on to name their next album, which was Lullabies to Paralyze. So... yeah, that's just a song that
I thought it was from that album because of that.
No, yeah. That was on Songs for the Deaf, and then the next album pulled that lyric. So, yeah, I don't know, for whatever reason, ever since that album came out, and even before I learned truly to listen to albums in album format, that was a song that always held my ear, and that one of these days I'm gonna learn how to play.
That song, I always thought could be like a perfect, like no audio on screen, but like the final moments of like some montage wrap up of a character's descent.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like
it does
into
have
whatever like weird criminal monster he's turned into or something, and like something like that,
It has that weird sort of, it's not a sad song, but it has that melancholic sort of twisted softness to it. Yeah.
I always imagine like some guy who's like embraced his darkness.
Yeah. Who is beyond saving or beyond return. Yeah, totally.
And that's what always comes to mind with that song. It's someone who's like kind of has a sinister smile about it all.
Yeah. And then before you wrap up this video, Spoons, They Want My Soul, and Right on Frankenstein by Death from Above 1979. Okay, I'm going to stop naming songs now. But yeah, Mosquito Song, Queens of the Stone Age, that's my all-time favorite.
Yeah. All right, I got one more. I just want to shout out.
Woo.
I just got to shout this person out.
Corey Feldman.
Britney Spears.
Oh, yeah, you can't. Oh, I totally overlooked that.
I still don't know why I love her song so much, but I really fucking do. There's not a... I'm like, what? They're the most commercial kind of songs you can think of. But man, I just can work out to her songs. I can drive on the road. Like they're great karaoke songs.
Yeah. There's a reason she's a pop sensation.
There's a reason she is a superstar. She's not the greatest singer. She's not a very good dancer. But man.
But when she's got a group around her and the songs...
Yeah, like her voice is just perfect enough.
Yeah, well, it's that thing where your voice is perfect for your music.
That's
the beauty of not being on Broadway.
I've never heard a song from her that I was like, wow, that's powerful. But man, I love her songs.
Not even Lucky?
Not even Lucky.
Oh, we got close, though. Womanizer.
This is a song about a girl named Lucky.
She's so lucky. She's a star.
One day I'm going to read to a children's group. And I'm just going to read this song. Anyway, David, thanks for requesting. This is fun, David. It's fun to talk about music. John doesn't really get to talk about it as much. So I'm glad we could do this. You know who doesn't really listen to music? Tyrone Magnus.
He's not a music guy?
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like hearing someone who's like, I don't like comedy. It's like, who doesn't like comedy?
You don't like to laugh?
Yeah.
I don't get it. What do you mean?
I've heard like one or two people say it. I'm like, that's a weird sentence. Like, he likes music, but he's usually
not very invested
listens
in
to like
music.
audio of stuff,
Oh, I
Yeah.
see. Okay, so he just doesn't listen to music very frequently.
But I feel like music connects to all of us, and so it's great universal language. Has more repeat value than any movie or show. So,
Well, yeah, it helps when they're only 3 or 4 to 5, maybe 12 minutes long. You know?
David, hey, I just want to say happy Thanksgiving to you, brother. You've been an amazing soul in our life, and I know you rock out at the church. You play your own tunes. You're killing it in martial arts.
Find a way to combine the two: martial arts, music.
I feel like you should write a song about overcoming cancer. Remember, David was like one of the first people to hit me real emotional in that way of like, he hit us up saying that he like what helped get him through the cancer stages was like with the treatment and stuff was actually watching our videos, and that always like dawned on me of like, I don't think we're that good.
Really? Well, that's what got you through? Not like doctors or medicine, but
Like something that warrant a lot
like
more
us
emotions.
waking up early and watching trailers.
Really? But
Thanks, man.
but this always stood out to me of like that's such a it's creates some weird like existential thought provoking thing in me. I like,
Hey, man, it doesn't. Not everything has to be like huge and earth shattering to be important.
like Britney
Like
Spears.
Britney Spears. Yeah,
We
kind of.
are your Britney.
We're your
David.
Britney. Bitch.
Thank you, David, for being you. I hope you and your dad have a good Thanksgiving and get your ass stuffed. I don't mean that in a suggestive way. I mean
In a
that-
taxidermy way. Get it stuffed once
You
once
did
die.
overcome colon cancer, so maybe you should get a hydrocolonic cleanse on Thanksgiving.
Yes, make
Just-
room
just to be safe.
for all that digestion that you're about to undergo. You should do it before Thanksgiving if you can.
Thanks, Dave.
Peace.